Ich darf doch nicht stuck werden. Ich habe 2 Stun-Charms left. Okay, ich schaff das. Dodge-Rolle hier rüber. Dodge-Rolle. Okay, nice. Wir sind nicht stuck. Was ist denn da? Okay, Mana-Trank. Okay. Wo sind die Lightning Conduit Procs? Komm, Kiting. Dodge-Rolle. Komm. Komm, jetzt nicht nachlassen, Conti. Komm.
It was at this moment he knew. He fucked up.
Oh, war das knapp. Digga. Los. Durchziehen. Zieh durch. Komm schon. Zieh durch. That's it. Yeah. Ich hab's geschafft. Der Faker der POE will aber aufs Übelste. Feels good, man. And with that intro, hello and welcome to the 3rd episode of Pimp My Build. In today's episode, I spent 250 divines to make an insane good mapper, but who's also able to do bosses as usual. So if you want to know how I make this, then just stick around. Okay, so why I made an ES build instead of an cast on shock or cast on crit build. The reason is that we have over 11k EHP for this build. We have 5k energy shield and over 6k mana. And this is just massive. And yeah, the tooltip damage is kinda low, but we spend a lot of divines to get a dream fragments, which is mandatory to do mapping because you get chilled and frozen immune, and this is just massive for the build. We see that I only have 137k tooltip damage, but his spark is only level 20 and he only wears a +4 wand. This is completely fine because our main damage again comes from lightning conduit that we're playing with cast on shock and all of the magnitude that we stacked in the passive tree, which I also will talk about in this video. So, and also I was able to get up to 150 rarity, which is a super sweet spot, and I'm happy that we reached that. Okay, so what was the first item I bought for the build? It was actually the Dream Fragment. It's 100 divine. Why are we playing Dream Fragment? I just said it 1 second ago, because we get chill and frozen immune. Also, we get a decent amount of maximum mana and mana regeneration and cold resistance, which is also scaling insane with our ingenuity. Yeah, and the ingenuity was also the second item I bought because it's one of the other mandatory items that this build needs. We only have 77%, but we have 25 lightning resistance on it. And I think this was like 30 divine. So a pretty huge invest, but it was necessary to also cap out our resistance later on. The next piece I bought was the chest and the helmet because I wanted to get 60 spirit to actually run cast on shock. And if you look up chest with 60 spirit and resistance and high energy shield, I mean, look at this energy shield. It's massive. It's so massive. You can't even pay for this. Those are 80 or 90 or 100 divines, and so I tried to figure out a workaround, and this was to get a chest with at least like 35 spirit, and then to get a helmet to actually match the 35 with 24 with 25 spirit to actually get to the 60 spirit, and this together was only like I think 25 divines to get both. I mean, I don't know if I was lucky, but this is massive. And yeah, so we have 60 spirit to actually run our cast and shock over here, and we are overcapping with 1 spirit. This is completely fine. If you want to know how to get this, you have to look for an enchant on the helm, so it's corrupted with the spirit, and then yeah, just do the math, and then you also can get 60 spirit without getting one piece with only 60 spirit and pay way too much, because this is the same and working pretty well. Also, I was pretty lucky to find one with rarity. I mean, not lucky, there were like 10 up or so, and I just bought the one that fits the best. We also have high energy shield and high mana with 2 resistance, and yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, we also resistance kept perfectly, and this is just super fine and super convenient. And then after that, I think I went for the amulet as usual with the Everglazing Gaze Azure Amulet with the lightning rod. This is just for the vine. It's the cheapest item for the build that you can't really upgrade. The only way how you can upgrade this is to buy a corrupted one with a really good enchant on it, but it's not necessary to make the build work. You just need this with lightning rod and then you're good to go. And after that, I think I bought the other ring. And yeah, you see there's no mana regeneration at all on it because we have the mana flask. And this is also something you have to notice. Mana regeneration is actually a wasted stat when you have enough mana percentage on kill and the mana flask, because in high density breaches, you are just regenerating so much mana over the kills. It's not needed that you pay like 20, 30, 40 divines for a ring that also has mana regeneration on it. You can just go for high rarity, high mana, and cast speed to actually get a decent amount of damage just for the rings. And as I said, they are scaling with the ingenuity, so this is just an insane scaling factor. Also with those stats on it, it's just perfect. After that, I think I bought gloves and boots. And for this, I was just doing the math, how much resistance I needed. And then I wanted a good amount of energy shield. I wanted a decent amount of mana and rarity. You have to trick around the search values to actually find a good one. And you have to do a bit of math to actually see how you can cap out your resistance. Because I was leaking at lightning resistance at last. And then I bought also the focus at last, or at least, sorry, to fill out the rest resistance that I was missing on the lightning. And for the boots, I also just went for a decent amount of energy shield, movement speed, or movement. And for the boots, I went for a decent amount of energy shield as well. We needed movement speed, we needed mana, we needed rarity, and we needed actually a tier 1 fire resistance on it. And I think tier 2 cold resistance. This was enough to fill out the resistance. As you can see, the mana regeneration is just 900 if I spam here. You don't need more mana regeneration, and I will show you that in the passive tree in just a bit. And for the last item, I went for the wand. I was looking again for a wand that has at least +4 to all lightning spell skills, that has at least cast speed with 20% on it, at least 100 mana, and I was looking for around 100 to 120 weighted sum lightning and spell damage. And then I found this, and I can't remember how expensive this was, but I think over 10 divines or a bit under. I maybe wrote it down and I will show it up on the screen how much this costs. But overall, we spent all of the 250 divines into this build. And of course, for the last item, it's the mana flask. I mentioned that a lot in my videos and I want to point it out this time once more. It's mandatory. It's so necessary that you get this mana flask first, because with that, you have more options with your build. You can say, okay, I drop the mana regeneration on my ring. I get a better one. And it's just quality of life. You refill your mana in just a blink of an eye. And this is so huge because it also can save your life. Because now we're gonna head over to the passive tree. We are playing with Mind Over Matter, and this says that our damage is taken from mana before life. So more mana means we have more HP, and when we just refill our 6k mana with just one button, we are so good to go. I mean, how can we even die? And you saw it in the intro. It's just saving your life in so many different situations that you, just will love it. So if you want to upgrade your character, get this flask. It's 12 divine currently. It's, mandatory to actually make a good Stormweaver build. Okay, so what I did on the passive tree. Yes, okay, for the ascendancy, it's straightforward as usual. I mean, there are options with shock chance here, but I think it's troll to go this, so we went for this. And I will explain why I don't use this, because I was able to optimize the skill tree once more. It's, I think, pixel perfect now, and you will see why we don't need the extra shock chance over here. Okay, the journey begins on the bottom left side. We're gonna grab all of the spell damage over here, because it's so important to grab the spell damage here. You can do it by yourself. If you skill this, you have less damaged, and when you just go on the left side, you will have slightly higher energy shield, but it's not worth it. Don't go for the right side, go for the left side to pick up the 20, 82, 63, 65 spell damage for free. Guys, if you don't do this, you're trolling yourself, okay? Just do this. And then we're gonna swing over to the cast speed to grab this as well. Then we're gonna head over to grab our first maximum energy shield node with another 10 intelligence. And then we're gonna path on the right side because we have to save some nodes. This mana blessing, it's not worth to pick up in the end game. It's not making the big deal. We have way better options to place those points, and I will just show you in a bit. Okay, so we take the swing by over here, we take a little ziggy over here, and then turn right. We're gonna grab all of the energy shield nodes over here because we also get intelligence here. And intelligence, if you don't notice, you get 2% increased lightning damage per 10 intelligence, and this is massive scaling as well. So, and then we're gonna swing by here and grab all of the magnitude here because I mentioned that also a lot in my videos. Magnitude, even when it's not showing up in the tooltip damage, is scaling your damage infinitely high. And it's so massive how you can make more out of your character by just scaling magnitude of shock or magnitude of ailments you inflict. And the reason why this is so, if we just press Alt on it and hover over shock, it says that when an enemy is shocked, he takes 20% increased damage. And with more magnitude, the damage that the enemy gets is even higher and scaling even higher. So stacking magnitude will be your min-max in the late game to get the most out of your character. And when we have POB and it's working, I will show you exactly in a video how much more DPS magnitude is instead of other stuff. So you're gonna grab this for the first magnitude of the tree. And then we're gonna right path up here and go left. And then you see I skilled everything over here, and you actually need everything. And I'm gonna explain why. First up, you get chain over here. You need chain. If you don't play chain, you're trolling. Just go for chain here. It's really, really important that you have chain. Then we're gonna grab all of the cast speed over here to get to lightning quick, to have more cast speed and also increased lightning damage, because we want to stack lightning damage. It's important. And also we skilled drenched, which is increasing our shock chance, and we need this. We need this extra shock chance to get more procs out of our cast on shock, because with more shock chance, our energy is filling up even higher, and then the skill is triggering even more. And then, as you can see, we're gonna skill Eldritch Battery as usual, and then we're gonna skill this Trident over here, but only the middle one and the left one, because, as I said, mana regeneration is worthless and wasted points in this kind of build I'm doing all of the time. And then, as you can see, we grab the usual nodes with the energy shield over here and the big ingenuity node over here. Then on the left side, we path for sure up here to grab all of the lightning damage and also the power conduction over here to get even more shock chance. And now you ask, okay, County, why are you not playing a Metamorphosis in this socket to get more points for the skill tree? Hear me out. So the reason why I don't do this in an ES build and only do this on a crit build is that we want to stack the lightning damage that we can get over here. And also we want this node over here for the shock chance and also for the magnitude. Yeah, here the shock chance and here the magnitude. I'm sorry, because it's more damage for us. If we play the Metamorphosis, first up, we have to fix our resistance again, because they are pretty expensive with just -5 to all res. So we're gonna take one with -19 or -18% of all res, and then we have to fix up our resistance again. So this will be a process that you can make in the future, but I'm not done yet. Another big point is that you are not pathing over here, so you can't really grab the chain over here, and you're also missing the cast speed over here, and you're missing the shock chance over here again, because you're only skilling those outer nodes. Yes, you are able to grab Eldritch Will, but in this build, it's not mandatory to have Eldritch Will. It's even better to have all of the stacking, increased lightning damage, and also the shock chance that we have here overall. It's better. Just trust me on this, for sure. And then we path on the left side, we're gonna grab the jewels, we path down here, we're gonna grab the energy shield over here and also the mana and also the jewel socket over here, and then a little path into this to grab more elemental resistance and more increased elemental damage. This is something that you can do when you have higher level. It's not needed for the start of the build. So if you're short on skill points currently, you can leave that as well. Okay, and then let's head over to the right side because it's not done here. And we take all of the long pathing with all of the sweet attribute nodes over here to get to this point. Because we have big nodes over here. The first big node is Wildstorm. You need to have this because in Path of Exile, there are two types of damage increase. You can get increased damage and you can get more damage. And trust me, more damage is always better because more is applied at the end, while increase is just stacking up the numbers. So when you have 150% increased damage overall and you get 10% increased damage again, then you just have 160%. If you get 10% more damage, then this 10% will be applied to the 150%. So overall, you're getting 15% more than just 10% more. And this is a huge scaling factor because when you're scaling increased damage, also your more damage is scaling even higher. So that's why we always scale Wildstorm. And then, yeah, we path down here, we grab the jewel, we path down, and then we have the big game changer again. We have Freshlet, and Freshlet is so massive because those 4 nodes here are giving us 75% magnitude, and it is massive damage, guys. You don't want to miss out on those nodes because they are scaling your damage so insane, and your lightning conduit will hit like Hulk in a truck. Yeah, it's Hulk in a truck, and then you're gonna hit everything. It's insane, okay? And for the last part of this video, I want to talk with you about the jewels that I picked for this build, because every single jewel is around 2 divines cost. Why is this? So we picked jewels that have increased spell damage or increased elemental damage with cast speed and then increased magnitude of shock effect. And we spread those out. We also have some jewels that have maximum energy shield because maximum energy shield is scaling our damage as well. And yeah, we just looked that we have 3 modifiers out of 4 on each jewel, and then they have to have high numbers so we can make really advantage out of them. And you can see I picked them overall here, 2 divines each. I bricked almost 1 here, but yeah, it's fine. We have 4% mana on kill, by the way. It's mandatory that you have 4% mana on kill because when you don't have this, I mean, 6% would even better to just make sure that you have full mana every single time when you are in a map. Because as I said, this is a mapping build. And with that, yeah, you're set. I mean, this is how a 250 divine build looks like. So I want to give a little disclaimer about some of you maybe thinking, oh my god, he's spending 250 divines and not even having 250k tooltip damage. Yeah, I mean, that's a point. First, we are playing no crit. Second, we stacked up so much magnitude that we are really close to that numbers. And also there's some variations you can do with this build, and he also can do with this build to actually improve it and scale it up even higher. First up, as I said, we only have a level 20 spark, we only have a +4 wand, and now the real magic happens. So if you want to do bossing with this, you just need to get an amulet that has +2 or +3 proc skills and maximum mana. This is a premium one, so don't take this as a reference because we don't need the spirit on it. We have the 60 spirit on the chest and the helmet to run our cast and shock, and this is completely fine. I mean, you can get one with 60 spirit. I think they are 20 to 30 divines. Without the spirit, we're talking about 2 or 3 divines. And you also can get one with just +2. And when we now equip it, you're gonna see something really, really nice happen. We're gonna increase our damage by over 50k, and this is insane. And with that, you're really, really set to actually do any single boss. As I said, this is a non-crit build, so we have controlled destruction. And let's talk about the gem setup as well. So for the spark setup, I picked Arcane Tempo, Controlled Destruction, Considered Casting, Acceleration, and Inspiration. And for mapping, he is replacing Inspiration with Shock Siphon. Why is this? Because Shock Siphon will recover 4% of our energy shield if we do a killing blow with our skill. And this has happened a lot of the time with Spark. And this is a really, really good utility support gem, because without it, we are not able to regenerate our energy shield pretty fast, because we are not scaling any faster energy shield recharge node over here. We have nothing over here. So we have to regenerate our energy shield, so we don't have to stay a lot of the time out of combat or wait until it's recharged or something else. And this is where Shock Siphon comes in. Yes, our mana cost is now even higher, but we are playing first with the Everglaze, so we still have EHP, like 5k with our energy shield, even when we have low mana. We have the mana flash to just refill our mana, and we have the Shock Siphon, which is consistently regenerating our energy shield when we're fighting big packs of enemies, and this is massive. And as you can see, we're also playing Stone Charm to actually get rid of the stuns that we are dealing with. And with the Dream Fragments, we are basically immune to any single stun or other stuff, and also, yeah, the mobs are just dying. And yeah, this is the variation that you can do for Spark. If you do bossing, you just replace Shock Siphon with Inspiration. You can play Shock Siphon as well. You can play just a Fall Link. It doesn't matter. The damage isn't changing. The last spot is actually for a utility setup. You can put in even more damage. I could do that for clickbait, but we are talking legit here. You know me, I don't do no cap videos. And if I say something is tier 4, it's really tier 4. And you can check it with the HPs and on the level, on the mini map. So you always know I'm legit, and this is also something I want to approach, to be legit with what I'm doing. And as you can see, the damage is not changing, and you can just decide what you want. You can go with Inspiration if you want to be more safe in mapping as well. If you say, no, it's too much mana, I spent here, I want this, I don't have the flask yet, you can just do this. And yeah, for bossing, you can even replace this and get a damage support gem in, but I haven't planned to do this. So yeah, you can also do something to maybe find out new ways to do this. And this is my way. Then we have for sure the Sigil of Power, the good Siglinde, with persistence and magnified effect. This is just mandatory if you do simulacrum or bosses. You want to have the buff damage from the Siglinde to actually boost up your damage even more. If you just place it and we're gonna stack it, you're gonna see how high the damage is going. We're at 220k with the stacked Siglinde, and this is massive. If we wanna swap now the amulet, we're at 314k, and this is super nice damage numbers, which actually kills everything in the game, and you don't have to worry about anything. Then for sure the Archmage, if you don't know the trick, get a level 19 1+1 corrupted, get Enlightening Mastery, and then you have the full buff of Archmage. Because if I turn this off, we're losing like 10k damage, and if I get it back to 21, we're gonna get 10k damage back. And if you have something like this, that your tooltip damage from your Spark is just showing a really, really low number, and you think, what the fuck am I doing wrong? Then you better gonna click on the Archmage to activate it with your right click, then join to my stream and tell me, thanks County, that you told me that I have to turn on my Archmage to actually do damage. You're welcome. And then for the last setup, we have Orb of Storm and Cast on Shock, and the conductivity for sure. So let's talk about Orb of Storm. It's basically just a shock amplifier support setup which we're gonna place all the time to get more shock on the enemies. So we're playing with Font of Mana to get some more mana. You don't have to play this. You can also just do a Fall Link if you're short on currency. This is completely fine. You can, and then you really want to have Overcharge, Strip Away, Lightning Exposure, and Conduction on it. This is really important, and also try to get your skill levels at 21 as soon as you can, because it's massive scaling factor. And then we also have Cast on Shock, and we're playing Lightning Conduit in this with Elemental Focus, with Concentrated Effect, with Energy Rentation, and also Impetus. This is just a basic setup that you can do. The variation here would be that you're gonna replace the Energy Retention for the crit support gem. I currently don't know the name. I maybe will put it up on screen, so you can replace that, and then you have more crit chance on your Lightning Conduit if you want it. I mean, it's not needed, but you can do if you want, especially if you want to transform this ES build into a crit build. But I made plenty guides for crit builds, even my 35 divine budget build with crit, who's also one-shotting everything. You can look up that, and I made a guide as well on that. And for the last thing, we're playing conductivity. And this is also something that a lot of you maybe do wrong, because you actually want to have high-tended curse and curse ground in it. Because if you don't know, if you just place your curse and you don't have curse ground and the boss is spawning, your curse is not being applied to the boss, because you have to repress your curse on the because you have to repress your curse underneath the boss when he spawned to get the effect if you don't have curse ground. So if you playing right now with any kind of curse and you don't have curse ground, you better gonna grab a level 3 support skill gem and you're gonna get curse ground immediately. It's so mandatory, okay? Just listen to me in this situation. And yeah, for sure, we have the power siphon. It's the most broken skill in the game with 14k tooltip damage. I just don't want to show this in the video, but if you just do this spell on any kind of mob, he's just exploding. And I'm kidding, okay, guys? This was just a joke. And also, yeah, the second weapon setup. As usual, I made plenty videos about that and talked about it a lot, so I won't talk about this in this video again. And this is it for the 250 divine build and how I approach it and why we have only that low damage, but it's not low damage. You saw all the magnitude we stacked up. You saw the intro, killing those bosses, struggling for my life in Simulacrum T4. Guys, Simulacrum T4 is so brutal. I don't know. I think you need at least 300 to 400 divines to actually get smooth through it. It's really tough, guys. I'm not gonna lie. And if you're struggling currently with that, it's completely okay. You really have to get better gear to actually get it done. And this is it for today's episode of Pimp My Build. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed it. And for the sake of the video, I want to mention that you please like it, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and join my Twitch for daily live stream. And with that, see ya, exiles, on the next one. Bye.